Hey guys, I wanted to do some recording for you all. This is something different because what happened was I was recording nights 3, 4, and a little bit of 5, and then for some reason my microphone decided to cancel out. So I decided to ask around and see what you guys thought. And, well, I'm just going to read through some of this stuff, and if I slip up on my speech, I apologize. I'm just kind of recording this on the fly, just for something fun to do. But at the same time, you guys can see me playing nights 3 and 4, and I managed to finish night 4 successfully without fail, which is pretty cool. So, some of the questions that I've been receiving. First one here is from Blackfoot Ferret. He asks, what program do you use to record video? And the answer to that question is I use 2 programs, actually. The first one comes from a company called Ambrosia Software. It is called Snaps Pro 10. And I've been using that for quite a while, especially for recording other types of video games and the emulator that I use. The one that I use for Five Nights at Freddy's is from telestream.net. It's called ScreenFlow. And it's a pretty pricey program, but it works very well in capturing my webcam and my desktop at the same time as my system audio and my microphone audio. So meshing all of that together, I can create these really awesome gameplays. So those are my favorite programs. Thanks for that question. Facade Kitsune, he asks, what's with the awkward reaction at the end? You said you were going to do it. He was probably referring to the first time I recorded a Five Nights at Freddy's video. And my awkward reactions is, well, because I've never played the game before, even though I've seen other people play it online, it's a lot different when you're up close and personal, so you can still get the adrenaline flowing and whatnot. Let's see, Marcelo, one of the admins on the Freddy's family on Facebook, he asks, who is the scariest animatronic for you? And I actually have 2 answers for this question because it's very specific. First one is Foxy. Foxy has to have the scariest jump scare. In both Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2, and I've seen the ones in 3, I can't decide which one is scarier, because he's just a random element. He just comes out of nowhere and you don't expect him coming. In Five Nights at Freddy's 1, if you don't keep an eye on the camera at Pirate's Cove, he gets a little anxious and starts running down the hallway and jumps in your room if you don't lock that door on time. The scariest animatronic as far as appearance goes, I would say the winner would have to be Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is just creepy and disgusting. I hate his macabre appearance. It's just one of those things that makes you feel incredibly disgusted. That's what Golden Freddy is. In Five Nights at Freddy's 1, if you manage to get the secret poster that occurs in one of the lower left cameras, it will start triggering hallucinations, and then Golden Freddy's limp animatronic suit will just appear in your room, and in which you have only a few seconds to respond and get one of your cameras up. Otherwise, the image of Golden Freddy will just show up on your screen and your game will crash. And it interrupts the recording process, so I have to do lots of editing if that happens. Luckily for me, that has not happened yet. I've never come across a system crash during a recording session. Let's see. Freddy, I believe is an RP character in Freddy's family. He says, are you ready to inhale the dong? I do not know what you mean by that. I don't live in Washington nor Colorado, so that's just not happening. Thorfax Goldwings, he asks, I think that this series' fatal flaw is that it gets to the point where it honestly stops being scary. It starts just being a challenge where people are too worried putting their try-hard pants to actually be bothered by the horror aspect of this game. Same thing happened to Slender. I have to agree with that. when you start playing the game Five Nights at Freddy's, and any version, you get really scared at first because it's all of these different unexpected elements of the game that just get thrown in your face, and you're left wandering around like a, you know, lost child, and then the unexpected happens, and you just get really scared, and you just jump in your seat, and you're like, what the fuck, what the hell was that? And then after a while, you get used to the jump scares, and then you get good at the game to the point where you don't really come across the jump scares very often, and it stops being scary and just starts being frustrating. It gets really annoying when you try very hard and, you know, these RNG elements, these random number generator elements of the game, start pretty much messing with you, and things just kind of fall apart, and you get burnt out, and you gotta quit the game for a while and then come back to it and try it again. I have died hundreds of times recording videos like the 1020 mode on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It actually took me just over 2 weeks to get that done. That was one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had. Thankfully, I believe I am now done with that game, unless people want me to go back and do challenges. Maybe that might happen. We'll see. So as we're going through the game here, I just want to bring up really quickly my friend Blackfoot Ferret, who asked one of the questions in this game. He also had his own theories video, which I thought to be very good. The reference video, I'm going to put some text up on the screen here real quick, and you guys can go to that channel. It's really cool. He did a pretty thorough job getting all these theories put together. Not all of it was true. He kind of patched some of it here and there, and used some of the other videos. I actually like a lot of different channels that play Five Nights at Freddy's. His is definitely one of them. I'm a big fan of Markiplier. Markiplier does some excellent videos, and he does all sorts of games, but lately he's been the Five Nights at Freddy's guy, and he was the self-proclaimed king of Five Nights at Freddy's. The other videos that I really like, one of them is Smike. He did some videos on Five Nights at Freddy's a while ago. He also does some Skyrim videos too, which I think are pretty cool. So check out Smike. You guys probably know who he is. I can leave a link in the description below later on. And yeah, so go check that stuff out. There's a lot of different Five Nights at Freddy's videos. If you just do a search for Five Nights at Freddy's, you'll find a ton of videos. So as we're going through this game here, I just realized that Night 3 was a little bit difficult, but I've tried to use a specific strategy that was akin to Nights 6 and 7, especially in the custom modes, where what you would do here is you check your left light, check your right light, and before you check on the camera, you click the door and close the right door button. And then you check on Pirate's Cove, and you don't need to check anywhere else. So long as you're maintaining that pattern, light, light, door, camera, door, light, light, and you'll end up being pretty successful, actually. I've seen some other Five Nights at Freddy's videos where they're trying their own strategies. They've never played the game before, so they've just been trying to wing it. And I also noticed that some people try to use the strategies from the mobile versions of the game with the desktop version, and a lot of people don't realize that these two versions of the game don't exactly use the same strategies. You also notice that in the videos there you see Foxy kind of peeping his head out, and that was one of the mistakes I made in the first video that I did of this. Was once Foxy has left Pirate's Cove, you need to make sure you get that left door down as quickly as possible, otherwise it's going to cause you a lot of problems. And I've been kind of burning through my battery because I'm very quick with the controls. I should slow down just a tad. There's a lot of timing that you have to do in the background with this stuff. I'm just gonna kind of dabble in some random things as I come across and think about them. I can see I finally finished Night 3 here, and kind of congratulating myself. I was actually very nervous doing this. My chest was quivering, and I was very upset that I wasn't able to do this as easily as I thought I could. I was kind of cocky before I started playing this, and then I realized, oh, hey, this is actually kind of hard. You need to you need to not be so cocky about this. You play the game, and if you screw up, so what? You live and learn. And considering there's random moments of randomness, RNG, you're just not going to win all the time.
Oh, hey, wow, day 4. I knew you could do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you when I did. Hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. Try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there. You know. Oh no.
So yeah, that phone call on night 4, that's pretty creepy stuff. If you listen very carefully to all of the different sound effects, it's actually from every single animatronic. Chica's there, Freddy's there. You can hear Golden Freddy's roar in the background, and of course Foxy banging on the door. There's a couple of hidden secrets in this game too. If you wish to pass the night quickly, while you start up the night, doesn't matter what night you're on, if you hit C, D, and the plus key on the numeric keypad on the right-hand side of your keyboard, it will instantly end the night. Just hit all 3 of those keys simultaneously, and that's it. It'll complete the night for you. Why would you want to do this? If you're a lazy cheater, that might be one reason, but if you're trying to test something, I think that's pretty much what the code is for. I don't think it was intended to be a cheat mode. Because you're really not doing yourself any favors by cheating. By the way, those same keys you can also do on Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but you have to do something very specific. If you click and hold on Freddy's nose in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and again hold down the C key, the D key, and the plus key, it again will instantly end the night. Now, that being said, I'm not a cheater. I don't use cheat codes. That's not really a fair way to play. I played this out to the best of my abilities. And the other reason why I wanted to re-upload this, even though there's no audio coming from me, is because I wanted to prove that, hey, I did get through night 4 without fail all the way through the program. And I think I got pretty lucky. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. But this happened to work out for me. So again, the little strategy I was doing here, left light, right light, click door button on the right, then check your camera, check Pirate's Cove, bring camera back down, undo the door, check left, right, and that's it. It's a pretty simple strategy. For the most part, it keeps Freddy out of your room, and it delays Foxy. And I actually found out a little hidden secret in the fact that if your doors are jammed, if your left door and your right door are jammed, do not drop your camera if it's late into the morning. Because if it's like 5 a.m., you might be able just to wait out everyone. You might be able to wait out Foxy. And that happened. That happened to me on night 5. My doors got jammed late into 4 a.m. and I just decided, don't mess with the camera, just sit there and go limp like the phone guy says. And sure enough, I made it all the way to 5 a.m., albeit at the same time that Foxy decided to peek his head into my door and scream his head off. The night ended and I managed to succeed in the weirdest way possible. I don't know exactly how that worked. One of my other favorite YouTube channels is the Game Theorists, and they did some theories on Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2. There is a lot of different speculations on what actually went on in Scott Cawthon's mind when he was doing this. And in reality, Scott kind of comes up with stuff on the fly. Some things are just completely unexplained. There was an interview that they did for Scott Cawthon asking, you know, who the hell this Golden Freddy thing was and how he tied into the story. He's like, I really don't know. I can't explain it. So we're going through the fourth night here. It's 3 a.m. And when you take a look at a lot of YouTube videos of 5 Nights at Freddy's, particularly mine, there are a lot of moments where I'm just babbling my head off and really not saying anything funny. So I cut out a lot of that unneeded video, and there are moments where I will play this game and I'll just go completely silent, and then I start feeling uncomfortable. So in order to kind of circumvent the uncomfortable feelings that I have within myself, I just talk at random. I say whatever comes to mind, whether it makes sense or not, because it helps you deal with the fear. Sometimes that happens, you know. It's like going on a scary roller coaster and you're just sitting there waiting in line, waiting for the inevitable to happen. And what do? You strike up a conversation with the people around you. It could be about anything. It could be about ice cream. It could be about, oh, hey, I got this new sports car. It could be like, oh, what's better, Mac and Windows? I don't know. So I'm just kind of babbling to myself like I'm babbling now. I tell you, there's a lot of things that I didn't know about these games when I went into playing it, like the buttons on the sides of the doors there. I didn't realize that the light button on the door button function in like a push switch, where you click on it and it pushes down, and you click on it again and it pushes back up. I thought the light buttons were kind of like a click and hold thing, where if you want the lights to turn on, you just click down and hold it. It doesn't work like that. You see everybody playing these games on videos, and then you realize, oh, it doesn't work like that. And I thought you had to click on that little bar down at the bottom to get your camera to open up, and it's like, no, it's just a simple mouse swipe. You just swipe down, camera pops up right on your screen, and you can just click things. So it's a more intuitive interface than I thought, but sometimes things can get a little sticky, especially when stuff doesn't work very well. Like, I have a very old mouse that just wants to do some weird things every once in a while. You can see Foxy peeping his head out, and I actually impressed myself here. I didn't think I would get through the entirety of Night 4 without a single scare. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of myself in this one. I've seen so many other videos out there that they just fail at Night 4 over and over and over, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I know exactly how to beat this. I'm going to use the same strategy they use in Night 6 and 7 and apply it to Night 4, and sure enough, it worked. But then things start getting sticky, and I stop paying attention where I need to pay attention, and that's where things kind of go south. So, yeah. And you guys can see a actual completed Night 5. Like I mentioned earlier, somehow Foxy entering into my office at the same time that I actually win. Sometimes you just don't know how to prevent certain things from happening, and again, it's the RNG. Don't, rip yourself apart just because things don't happen the way you want them to. I should talk a little bit about myself here while I celebrate my actual victory. I was pretty impressed that I did this flawlessly. First try, Night 4, got completely through. So yeah, I think I got through Night 2 flawlessly. Well, as we start up the new night here, I'm going to allow you guys to listen to this very strange phone call. So yeah, that was probably the creepiest thing I've ever heard. Until I actually looked it up, and then it just became even creepier. In real life, I'm actually a computer salesperson. I sell computers for a living. I sell specifically Apple products, name it the iPad and Mac and iPhone. I've been selling Apple products for about 10 years now. And outside of that, I'm a voice actor. I'm a radio show host. I host my own radio show called Radio Universe. It is a furry program. And, well, what is furry? It's all about anthropomorphic characters, and we talk about news and events. And we actually have our own station, Radio Universe. YouTube has a Radio Universe channel, so feel free to check that out. The other things I do in real life, outside of selling computers and doing YouTube stuffs, I actually am the director of registration for Anthrocon. That has been one of the greatest things that has ever happened to my life. I have been very connected with the anthropomorphic community, the aka furry community, anything that has to deal with the relationship between humans and animal culture in comics, cartoons, and mascots, and I've always loved those sort of things, and that's probably why I got interested in Five Nights at Freddy's, because not only does it play on the history of what we knew growing up with animatronics, but you know, the fun-loving animals, and yeah, so Anthrocon is pretty cool stuff. But in this particular case here, I got really pissed off at myself, and something went completely and totally wrong, and I just said, hey, you know what, screw this. I got out of my chair and I said, hey, I'm not going to play this anymore. So you can hear that my door isn't working, and I think Bonnie was about to jump scare me, and I'm like, nope, not gonna happen. I know what happens when you check your camera after your door's been jammed. Bonnie just jumps in your face, so not falling for that one. And I figure at this juncture, I'm just gonna take my headset off, I'm gonna jump in the back of the room, give everybody the bird, and that's it. You guys, hey, thanks for listening to my little review tonight. You can see I'm kind of acting weird. Oh, and by the way, in approximately 5 seconds here, prepare for Foxy Scare. So, thank you all for listening and watching, and more Five Nights at Freddy's videos will be coming soon, I hope. Have a good night. Peace.